Awesome, yeah. So obviously, we're announcing our leadership group today. I guess the best thing about this group, it was player decided. So we worked through a little bit of a process. We had an external facilitator come in and talk about what values and what type of person we wanted, people that we wanted to lead us. And then once we went through that process, the players then voted on who they thought would best depict that. And then we ended up with the group we did. So Hugh Sinclair, he's unfortunately not here, his little one's 6, he's had to rush home. But Hugh, I guess what he brings to our group is a really reliable, stable, approachable, consistent sort of guy. His nickname's a Diesel because he's always there, always reliable. And really steady both of mind and performance. So he's a good conduit for the young fellas. They feel comfortable talking to him, so that's really good. For our group, Dave, who is also doubles as our vice captain. Obviously had that great experience with the Wallabies as far as being named captain while he was over there. That was a good feather in his cap, so it's not only us that recognise him as a leader. Forthright, speaks his mind, a deep thinker on the game, and very experienced. So that's his credibility, and he brings to the group. And then Jake. So I think Jake's on in his 4th year as our captain. Unanimous and really strongly elected leader by the players. One of our main players on the field with performance. When Jake plays well, the team plays well, and he's just one of those real competitors. His spark and his competitive drive is something that we want the whole team to thrive off, and he does a good job on that as well. So all of us, myself included, we're all learning, we're all on this journey together to improve our leadership skills and how we can lead the other men. But I'm stoked to have these 3 guys. As I said, the players voted on it, coaching staff endorsed it. It was actually a really simple decision and simple process for us, and I'm excited to watch the boys do their work from here on in.
Jake, Seaver again, kind of 4th year. What changes this year from the last couple? And clearly 22 went well, but last year not so well. So how do you guys, as a leader, what are kind of some of the adjustments that you've got to make?
Oh yeah, I think you're continually learning. I've learned quite a bit over the last sort of 4 years as captain, and I've been really lucky, with Dave and Hugh Sinclair and Jed. They've really helped me along this process. We've been doing some really good mental skills work with the guy, Maisie, who's come in, which has been beneficial for myself. I really live on the borderline of probably sometimes crossing a little bit too much, and these guys are here to sort of get me back in line. But yeah, I want to lead by example. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying hard to get there.
150th year as well, kind of extra special given that milestone.
Yeah, massive year for the club. We've sort of been doing a bit of a piece at the moment, looking through the decades of rugby, and New South Wales rugby was really strong. So we're excited for the year. I can't wait for it to kick off, really. But huge year for the club.
So you voted by players as well. How much of a special extra meaning does it have to you to be named captain? Yeah,
I think when you're a captain, sometimes obviously doubt creeps in occasionally, and especially when you don't have a year that people expected. To be voted by your peers is special. I still remember when I got the call from Darren, we had a long process on that selection, and then I got a call, I think it was on Sunday morning, and I felt great. It was a good feeling. When your peers are backing you, it's a good feeling to have.
Leadership last year heading into this year, can that service you well?
It definitely serviced me well. Learned a lot about leadership. Mainly around what the team needs and getting the best out of people and how we do that. It was a learning experience in itself over there, so I've definitely taken a lot of learnings from that, and as I said sort of previously in media sort of last week, some of that might be sort of what not to do that can lead us in good stead, and I'm looking forward to supporting DC and Jake along that.
Darren, a fairly long injury list heading into that first trial, albeit a strong team you picked. What's going on there? Is that abnormal or?
We had a few boys coming back from season-ending surgeries or things there. So there's a few in that list there. The beauty is, bar our new Fijian player, Mesu Kunavula, unfortunately ruptured his ACL on the last the last minute of the last drill of the last session before Christmas break. So he's done for the season. But everyone else there is, think of that injury list that isn't playing trial 1. The vast majority of them are either trial 2 or trial 3. So, and as we're doing with Jake, it's a trial, you want to get match practice, but you also don't want to take any risks. You've got to get that balance right. So there's a few guys that are on that list that if this was a comp game, they'd be playing. But yeah, no, we're not concerned about it. We trained a little differently this pre-season, a bit more intensely. So we've had some bodies that have taken a while to adjust to that. But yeah, and I think it's Murphy's Law with injuries. You seem to get them all in the same positional group at the moment at our back 5 of our scrum. Locks and back row is sort of a problem area as far as the number of injuries we have in that little group. And then our halfbacks at the moment, Jake's obviously resting this week and Jack Grant's not quite ready from a calf issue. So we're a little skinny there, but everything else, as you've seen the team for tomorrow, for Saturday, it's a strong team. And I've just seen the Melbourne team, it's strong as well. It's going to be a good game.
You've named Joe Walton fullback for this trial. Is that a makeshift kind of thing, or is he a chance to play there? And how's Max faring in his return?
Yeah, it was probably originally a bit of a makeshift thing. We just did it one training run to see how he went because we were skinny in that area. We had a few injuries in the back 3. And like everything Joey does, he's a real professional, super knowledgeable with his footy, has a good, well-rounded skill set. So he took to it really well. He hasn't actually... I said it'd be good for you to learn a couple other positions just in case it adds to your value on our bench. And poor bloke hasn't got back in the centre since. He's done such a good job at fullback. Jorgo's making his way back. Yeah, we're expecting to get a little bit of footy out of him. Hopefully trial 3 is the target now to get him ready for game 1. But yeah, Joe could, like anything, if Joe goes well the next week or 2, Max, you'll have to earn his spot back off him.
You guys were vocal about top 4 last year. Will you make a similar prediction this year? Are we sort of hovering around that where you'd like to be? Or what do you think are realistic expectations year 3?
Yeah, we've got to improve. Yeah, we've got 6 2 years in a row. We need to improve. So whether it's a prediction, call it what I want, but you don't have to be a mathematician to figure out if you're going to improve from 6th. It's 5th or above. Yeah, we got our goals. We want to... I guess probably the difference this year is, yeah, whether it was a prediction, I'm not sure, but our goal is definitely to improve on last year and be more consistent. And we know there were some big occasions at the footy stadium which hurt the most around the first game and the last game there where we had big opportunities and we didn't fire. They were 2 of the most painful performances of the year. So we want to be more consistent. We want to play particularly good footy at home. We want to make sure that Sydney and New South Wales fans come along there. They're going to see a team that competes hard and is consistent. So that's our goal. If we do that and you play well at home, you win your games there and you're consistent, you're going to be there and thereabouts at the pointy end.
You guys were pretty slow out of the box last year. It's part of having like all Wallabies front row and getting Dave and legs and Angus Bell as part of that so that you guys make sure you do hit the ground running, come around it. Yeah, it's interesting how you time your run. Like 5 points at the start of the year are the same as 5 points at the end, whether you accrue them early or late. The main reason the boys are playing the first trial is because they're allowed to this year. Like last year, the Wallaby season stretched into November. They weren't allowed to play 2 trials. We're just playing the second one, I think. So this year they've... there's no restrictions because they finished a bit earlier. So our goal is to give most of those blokes a half a footy this week and then build that for trial 2. And so, yeah, you'd like to think hit round 1 where there won't be any cobwebs. We'll be close to our best. And with what's happening down in Melbourne in their situation, do you expect that the Rebels are going to try and make a statement this week?
Oh, no, I wouldn't know. Yeah, that's probably their area. It's sad to read all that. There's a lot of really good people down there that are working hard for the sport. I reckon they'd prefer to make a statement once there's points on the line. But yeah, I definitely feel for them. Everyone feels for them. Like they're good footy blokes like us. So when you've got good men like that their employment and things they've put a lot of passion and time into. And I know Kevin, the head coach, is an awesome man, and a lot of the players are mates with our players. no one likes seeing what's going on down there, and hopefully they can get a good resolution.
Darren, you talked about sort of increasing the intensity of training this sort of pre-season round. What did you sort of see in the review that indicated you have to make that change?
It's probably more so paying more attention to the science and the stats of the sport. We probably, under my theory was, and working with our staff, it's just the ball in play. The way the ball in play has changed in rugby at the moment, it's just not in for big chunks of time. So we probably we were fit, I thought, and a very well prepared team physically last year, but we could probably play longer than we needed to. We need to become more powerful and faster is the key for shorter bouts, recover and be able to do it again. So that's probably been the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that came out of review, and Jason Gilmore, our senior assistant coach, and Nick Lumley, our head of performance, done an awesome job. They do a lot of the programming. They run past me, and they've tweaked a few things in how we train, and I think the boys attest to it, where we're moving fast, but we're not running as long and steady state as we used to.
Has there been any discussions, you spoke late last season about wanting to stay on with the Tars, and you talk about your future beyond this year, about an extension, or is that something you would still like to do, or will results early in the season maybe dictate where that lands?
I think it's yes to everything, all those questions. Yeah, I love the job here. Yeah, of course you'd like to stay on, but I can't preach to my players to put team first, and I make decisions that starts and ends players' careers. I know there's people above me that'll make decisions about my career, and they'll do it with the best interests of the organisation at heart, and I'll always, as I said, I can't preach put team first and not do it. If the people above and the playing group decide I'm not the guy to take them forward, they'll do that, and I'll leave here happy that I did my best. But yeah, I love this place. So whatever the role is or how it all works, I'd love to stay here at the Tars and keep building on. I think we're on something special. I think we're got a really good roster. If you look at our roster now compared to, say, 21 when we took over, we're in a much better, healthier state with depth and quality of players, more Wallabies and more aspiring Wallabies. So I'd like to be around as we sort of send it into a good era.
We've heard a lot of players speak about Wallabies World Cup campaign as a Tars coach. What's you want from that as an Australian rugby fan? How was that to deal with, and in the back of your mind thinking about those guys coming back into Super, confidence levels, all that stuff?
Yeah, I was over there. Yeah, I did a supporters tour, and yeah, it was it hurt everyone. Like, I took away 45 good rugby supporters, and it was painful and hurt as a rugby fan. The performance, particularly that Wales game, was just pretty flat after that. But I know it hurt the boys equally as much. But as far as them coming back and wearing scars, I don't think so. I haven't seen it. You won't know till they get on the field. But Dave, led by Dave, the boys done a pretty good job of wiping it. Everyone's excited to put it behind them and get on with a really positive start to our season. So, yeah, it wasn't great. People have talked about that enough now. We're just looking forward, and we've got a good, exciting group here. And there's some players that came back from that tour better for the experience. Langy Gleeson, for example, is in career best shape, and although he didn't get to play much over there, he's a different animal than what he was 2 years ago. And him sort of just getting close to that Wallaby level and seeing it just over the fence there, I reckon you'll see some big gains out of him.
So is anyone else sort of on that fringe, to see guys like Ned Start this weekend? Is there anyone in particular that you've sort of seen this sort of pre-season block that you go, I'm excited to see what they can do against the sort of Super Rugby colour opposition? Yeah, there is, and you don't want to put pressure on players, but guys like Joey Walton, he's had a really good pre-season for us. He's been, and it's actually the ones that have trained the most. I haven't had any niggles or disruptions. Him, Masesi Tuapalotu, who will play off the bench this week, he's trending in the right way. Harry Johnson-Holmes is in career best shape. I think you'll see a really mobile and fit and aggressive Harry. Who else was exciting? A lot of guys. It's the first game. I'm excited to see them all go. Like, he's trained for 4 or 5 months. Some of these guys have been going
coming in here 4 or 5 days a week since August, so they're ready to go. I reckon the first 20 minutes on Saturday down in Melbourne will be a pretty high intensity.